I already took you through Chapel Lakes, a DR Horton community at a solid price point. But since then, a lot of you have reached out and asked me what else is out there in this area and price point. So today we're heading to Clopton Farms, a Pointe Homes community, and we're gonna find out which is the better move for your money. And these two builders probably have more differences than they do similarities, so stick with me on this one. By the end of this video, you should have a much clearer path on which direction you wanna go. So let's start with where we are. Clopton Farms is a Pointe Homes community right here in the Lake Conroe area of Montgomery, just south of Highway 105. First thing I noticed pulling in is that this doesn't feel like your average new construction neighborhood. The lot spacing is amazing. I really love the exterior of these homes. It really just gives this modern luxury vibe. It's also tucked back in the trees, so it feels pretty rural, but everything is still really close by. So that matters more than most people think, because you're not just buying a house, you're buying into a neighborhood that you're gonna drive into every single day. Before we go inside, I need to say something that I say to every single one of my clients before they walk into a model home. What you're about to see is not what you are buying. Every model home is dressed top to bottom with upgrades, premium finishes, designer furniture. The builder's job in the model is to make you fall in love. My job is to make sure you know what you're actually falling in love with and what it's going to cost you to get there. With that said, let's go take a look. Now I want to jump right in and talk about price, because this is where I think things get really interesting, and where I think a lot of buyers leave value on the table. There's a budget threshold in new construction where your dollar stops buying a production home and starts buying a semi-custom home. It's not a huge jump in monthly payment, but it is a significant jump in what you're getting. So I had a client recently who came in with a certain number in his head, pretty firm on his budget. When we started looking at what was available at that price point versus what was just slightly above it, and I'm talking like $10,000, maybe $20,000, that's a very small difference in the monthly payment, right? So the gap in quality and finish level though was significant. So he ended up going a little higher than he planned, and he got a lot more home for it. He was also a first-time home buyer who has since closed on his home and has zero regrets. He's so happy. That's the conversation worth having before you set a hard ceiling on your budget though, especially right now in this market where buyers have quite a bit of an advantage, especially with new construction. So I'll be honest with you, we're in the 60-foot model right now, so there's a 50-foot and a 70-foot, which you'll see in part 2 of this video. To me, this model has a smaller kitchen and living space compared to the 50-foot. And realistically, it should feel, whether it's larger, grander, better in general than a smaller, cheaper product. So to me, if I'm spending $500,000, $750,000 on a house, it's vital to me that I have a spacious central greeting area where I can not only entertain, but just day-to-day cooking, relaxing, hanging out with my kids and my family. So this was a bit of a disappointment for me, and not a floor plan that I personally would choose. Although the tall ceilings do make it feel much more open. And I'm not telling you this to talk you out of this community or this builder by any means. I'm telling you because that's what I tell my own clients standing right here. And if you're taking the time to listen to me right now, you deserve the same conversation. But anyway, back to price, because I want to give you a quick side-by-side picture that will hopefully be useful to you. Chapel Lakes, our DR Horton comparison community, which is also right here in Montgomery, just down the road, starts in the mid 270,000s and goes just over $500,000. So there's actually a broad price range where these two builders overlap, and that's where the decision gets really interesting. Here at Clopton Farms by Pointe Homes, prices start in the 300s. On paper, that doesn't sound like a massive gap. But what that jump gets you in terms of product, experience, and finish level is not a small difference, and that's exactly what we've been walking through today. What I told you earlier about budget thresholds, this is exactly where that applies. If you're sitting anywhere near the top of the DR Horton price range, it's worth a serious conversation about whether a little more per month puts you into a meaningfully different home. Sometimes the answer is obvious, sometimes the numbers just don't work, and that's okay too. But you owe it to yourself to run that comparison before you commit. And that's exactly the kind of thing I would be talking with my client about before they sign anything. Here's where I want to pause and talk about something that really defines the difference between these two builders, and honestly between two types of buyers. D.R. Horton is what's called a production builder. They build at a massive volume, they build fast, and the trade-off for that efficiency is customization. You're choosing from 3 to 5 preset interior color packages, so that means your flooring, your cabinets, your countertops, all pre-decided. There are no change orders. What they've built is what you're getting. Pointe, on the other hand, is a semi-custom builder. Same concept of a planned community with set floor plans, but once you go under contract, you get a full design studio experience, individual selections on finishes, fixtures, cabinetry, flooring, and lighting. Your home can actually look different than your neighbors. Of course, there are still options to buy an inventory home which is already done, and you can get great deals buying those as well. But here's the thing, I've seen both reactions from clients. I had a buyer not too long ago who was genuinely overwhelmed by the idea of having to make all those choices herself. She walked into an inventory home, looked around, and said, "I love this, I'll take it exactly as it is." So for her, having it done was a weight lifted, not a limitation. And that's a completely valid way to buy a home for a lot of people. But I've had other clients who would have been miserable getting stuck with a certain color package. They really wanted to see all their choices, make decisions room by room, and feel like the home was actually theirs before they moved in. That's who Pointe is built for. One thing I always check in new construction, and I do this with every client, is the secondary bedrooms and the flex spaces. The primary suite is always going to look good because that's where the builder puts the money and the staging. But the secondary bedrooms and auxiliary spaces, such as the laundry room, if there's a mud room, the garage, that's where you start to get a realistic picture of what you're actually buying. So here's where I land on Clopton Farms and on Pointe Homes after walking this community. There were a couple of drawbacks, as I mentioned, like the size of the kitchen and the living room in this particular floor plan, but I toured 2 other floor plans, like I said, and they felt much better and more spacious overall. So on the grand scheme of things, I was impressed with the way I was treated by the sales staff who work for the builder, so that's really big for me. I also noticed a lot of positive reviews online from happy customers who have been living in their homes for a while or who have submitted warranty claims, because sometimes that can be a headache. But it seems like they have a pretty well-refined process here with Pointe. To me, this neighborhood is in a perfect location here in Montgomery. It just has access to everything, all kinds of great amenities that are already built, unlike many communities where they don't even put them in until later on in the build timeline. And it just feels so secluded, quiet, but it still gave me this new modern luxury feel. I really think this community is for anyone who loves the outdoors and being active. It has a fitness center, there's trails surrounding the lake, and it has close access to all that there is to do on Lake Conroe. I would also consider it if you're someone who's maybe looking to sell their home and upgrade to something larger, because they have a lot of floor plans that are pretty good size, and I loved how they packed in so much storage space into every floor plan. In part 2, we're going to get into what buying from Pointe Homes actually looks like, the process, the lender situation, what happens during the build, because that's a whole conversation on its own. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss it, dropping next Saturday. If you're trying to decide between these 2 builders, don't guess, call me. I've walked both, I know all the numbers and details, and I'm not here to sell you on either one of them. I'm here to make sure you make the right call on one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. So do me a favor, save this video, share it with your house hunting buddy, and let's figure this out together. The link for the Chapel Lakes video is in the description too in case you missed it. Thanks so much for tagging along, I'll see you in the next one.